Normally you'll find us meandering around beautiful countryside with lakes and mountains, or even working on turning our canal boat into a pirate ship. As a rule, we absolutely hate cities. However, we have come to Bristol. Looking at Google and the Google images of Bristol, this could change everything we think about cities.
We've come to Bristol for a very specific reason, a really exciting reason, which we're going to show you in a bit.
Last night we stayed at a little lay-by at the side of canal. It was absolutely beautiful, nothing spectacular, just a really kind of safe space. As you can see, it's kind of really iced over everywhere. The temperature last night was a field temperature of -9, but the van did really well at keeping us warm, really.
Where we're going, and this exciting thing that we've come here for, we've just pulled up to sort of have a look, see how easy it's going to be for us to park up there while we go. And it's literally surrounded by vans. There are so many van lifers there that are clearly living there full time. There's just loads and loads and loads. It's very similar to Glastonbury.
As an artist, I'm really excited to be in Bristol. You may or may not know, Bristol is home to one of the most famous, if not the most famous artist of modern times, the one and only Banksy. And it's also famous for another person beginning with B, and that is that Blackbeard, the pirate, was thought to be born in Bristol. There is so much to do in Bristol. Like, we didn't want to kind of waste the time we've got here, so we've kind of made a list of things we want to see, and the list is just endless of cool things. So there's kind of loads and loads coming up in this episode. The first thing we're going to check out is Castle Park, which is the largest park in Bristol. It's weird because it's like nature combined with these buildings, and it's just absolutely epic. It's like a little tranquil garden in the middle of a bustling city.
We're right next to the River Avon here, and it's used for kind of tranquility and reflection, and you can see quite a lot of people as you're walking around that are meditating, you know, sat cross-legged on the grass and on the benches.
Shiny lights and purple sky, everything's so bright. 기다려왔어 지금이야. Turn off your phone and off your mind.
We're standing on the southwest corner of what was Bristol Castle, which is completely destroyed now. First ever earliest recording of it were in 1088, and then it actually got destroyed sort of in 1660. Just to the side of me here is actually one of the tunnels that used to lead up to the castle. When they destroyed the castle and got rid of it all, they built a link road called Castle Street between Bristol and what is now classed as Old Market. And there were over 70 different sort of tradesmen, properties and things like that that lined the streets. And just before the Second World War, it was really bustling on this street that sort of led through. And they had a massive cinema which held over 2,000 people in this cinema, which, you know, going back to the World War II times, is quite big really. Eventually that street was destroyed, and it made way for what we see now, which is the biggest Greenland park in Bristol. It's absolutely massive.
If any of viewers know, if anybody knows why that church hasn't got a roof, let us know, because I'm genuinely intrigued. Don't have a roof. What's the story behind that? If anybody's new here, we are Reese and Emma, and together with our little dog Daisy, we travel all across the UK and Europe, showing you the very best that it has to offer, really. Bristol has officially been declared the coolest city in Britain, so I guess we're here really to see if it lives up to that name.
However, in 2022, the city centre was dubbed one of the most dangerous places in the UK, so which is it? Find my way in, searching for where I belong.
The energy in Bristol is absolutely incredible, and what I tend to do is I get hyper off that energy, so I'm going to calmly try and describe to you how epic this place is. We're going to check out Nicholas Market.
The queue for the food in here is absolutely massive. It must be really nice. Apparently it's the oldest market in Britain. It's absolutely brilliant. It's full of little food shops from all over the world. The smells, it just smells absolutely mouth-watering.
This is so cool. It's just, it's bustling with stalls, street food, shops. It's absolutely incredible here.
It's like a really big Glastonbury, isn't it?
There's stalls from all over the world.
food here?
Yeah, it looks really nice, doesn't it?
Got to do that.
Let's get some street food.
I don't know what I want. There's all sorts. Got vegan paella.
Yeah?
Hello, can we have 2 sets of your croquettes, please, and 2 coffees as well? Yeah, we'll mix. Yeah, both mix.
It's going to be 23.40.
Thank you. Got a 50 there. Just waiting for Reese to bring the food round now. We've got some vegetarian croquettes with like fine sliced potatoes and some alioli, so I'm really looking forward to that. It's just really hard to pick what to have. There's so many different types of food. There's like Vietnamese and Chinese, and there's just African food. There's just everything. There's so much to choose from. But I love my croquettes because it reminds me of being back in Spain. So absolutely amazing here. It's kind of like old meets new. There's these fantastic big old buildings, beautiful architecture. There's real kind of like street art everywhere. There's all these like brand new massive big buildings. It's not don't feel like a city. I don't know, it's a bit like York. It don't feel like a typical city, you know. It's definitely got more of a friendlier feel than that. It's like a massive Glastonbury is what it's like.
They're nice.
Yeah. Really, really, really nice.
Oh, wow, that is amazing. I absolutely love street food, and this is just absolutely gorgeous. Bristol has changed my opinion on cities. This place is like a piece of art. Established in 1743, Nicholas Market is the oldest market in Bristol.
It's got over 60 stalls and 3 distinct areas. St Nicholas Market has been named one of the 12 best markets in the UK.
So good, that, on it.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's just absolutely amazing. It's bustling, isn't it?
Very cultural, isn't it? You kind of get lost on these little windy streets.
Yeah, I'm going to be lost. I don't know how we're going to find us way back.
There's just like little stalls everywhere. Every street's just winding into another street. There's so much more that we need to show you in this city, but right now we need to get back to Rome and in the van for this thing that I'm going to. Something that Emma got me as a Christmas present.
Excited, aren't you?
Very excited. Definitely one off the bucket list.
Oh, watch out, because you're getting run over by scooters, bikes, cars. There's just like you can't. There's stuff everywhere.
That's the thing about cities, isn't it? We're used to being just next to a forest
Yeah,
or
there's
something.
way too much traffic for me. Really like this side of town. One that Guy said to us earlier, didn't it? It's very real. It is very real,
Yeah.
isn't it? You see what he means by it.
It's kind of like gritty.
People are very true, are very genuine. You know, it's real alternative vibe to it.
So we're here at Meridian Handpans, so I'm going to go and experience for the first time playing handpan. It's what Emma got me as my Christmas present. If you don't know what handpan is, wait till you see this. That handpan session was amazing. The handpan is a really kind of cool instrument, very similar to the native flute that I already play. I've had an obsession with handpans for years really, so it was a fantastic experience. There is actually a second part to that present that's hopefully coming up. We're in the van now, we've just taken Daisy out for a little wee, haven't we? We've made a brew and we're just going to get some tea and get into bed, I guess. The thing about van life in winter is that once it gets dark, you're kind of stuck in the van. In the summer, you're out exploring till like 10 o'clock at night, but in winter, it's like, what do we do now? So we'll just kind of we'll have some tea, we'll get the bed set up and see you in the morning, I guess.
The parked just out of Bristol city centre in a place called Clifton Down, which stands high above the city. It's absolutely beautiful. It's right next to the River Avon. We were surrounded by loads of other van lifers, many of which appear to be living there full time. And it's such a strange place because it's surrounded by really expensive, what I can only call mansions. But all of the locals were really welcoming, really friendly and really accepting.
We're right back in the heart of Bristol city centre to come and have a look at the famous flea market.
Only like a 20-minute drive through the city, and to be fair, it's quite an easy city to drive through. Look at these.
They're lovely, aren't they?
I like these t-shirts.
Look at the artwork. That's nice. And a trail on floor,
Yeah,
there
so
aren't,
it's supposed to for the effect.
Yeah, not so good in this country when it's raining. Yeah. That's tiny though, look at the waist on that.
Yeah, normally that little flea market would be a lot bigger, so a little bit disappointed, but not to worry. It's understandable because it's really windy, as I say today.
Yeah, it's been very windy, hasn't it?
So you can understand people not wanting to come out, but we are going to now check out. We were driving through the city last night, weren't we?
Yeah.
And we saw this what looked like York shambles, like old Tudor buildings. It looked pretty cool. So we're going to go check that out.
Look at the floor here, look.
Floors like arty. If you like art of any description, this is the place for music and art. To contrast to buildings, like you've got old buildings literally nestled in the middle of modern buildings. Look, there's another one there. We didn't realise that this was actually something on our list that we wanted to see, so stumbling across it were a really pleasant surprise.
So this area here is called a Christmas Steps shopping quarter, and it's filled with all sorts of shops, patisseries, pottery makers, art shops, music shops. There's just loads and loads of independent shops. It also has the famous Christmas steps. I'm not really sure why they're called that. There's not much about it, but it does date back to the 1600s.
Look at the size, look, that is 1, 2, 3, 4 layers of cake. And look at the size of that one. Blackberry and apple custard.
It's like Diagon Alley or Harry Potter, isn't it?
Really feel like we should get a slice of cake. It's a ridiculous amount of money to spend on a slice of cake because they are like £6.50 a slice.
Let's treat ourselves. We'll never treat ourselves.
Because it's
We haven't
just-
treated ourselves since yesterday.
It does seem a bit extravagant, but it is really nice. Maybe we should share a slice. Now, do we go for this one? How do you pronounce that? Leches?
Treleches.
Or do we go for blackberry, apple and custard? Which bit do you want? Which one do you want? I'll have a slice of that, please. Yeah. And can I get 2 chai lattes as well, please? Yeah. Right, let's have a look. It feels so heavy. I feel like I've got a whole cake in here. I'm glad I only got one slice. Oh, look at that for a slice of cake. Yeah, you definitely only need one slice. That is so, so nice. It's not just like buttercream. I don't know what it is, but I don't know if people like born with a talent to make cakes. This does rifle my sister's cakes, I have to say. Sorry, Chris. I've got a chai latte as well, and everything from here is absolutely beautiful. This building dates back to the 13th century, and apparently it housed a fish and chip shop for over 100 years. They've got such a wide range of like vegan cakes and drinks, and you know, just so much stuff. It's difficult to explain. You've actually got to book in here to be able to have a cup of tea inside.
We're here trying to find a Banksy. Finally, we've been on the search for a Banksy, and apparently there's one at the side of the art gallery. So we've got to the art gallery and it's just massive. So I don't know where Banksy's painting is. So I did find the Banksy, but it wasn't actually the Banksy that I wanted to see, although it were really cool. Banksy's not the only artist in Bristol. Many of the artists in Bristol produce absolutely phenomenal work, as you can see. We decided to wander around many of the thrift shops and vintage shops and second-hand shops that Bristol has to offer. Emma, as usual, went rooting through the bargain buckets. Before we headed off to see the actual Banksy we wanted to see. So the Banksy I actually want to see is at the other side of the city. We've come to the wrong place. I want to see the Mild West, so we've got to drive 20 minutes across the city. I think I found another one. It's still not the Mild West, but it's another one that's pretty cool to see.
I've been gone for too long, in a faraway land, trying to find my way in, searching for where I did belong, coming up with a plan, somewhere I can begin.
So I finally found Banksy's Mild West. It's one of the most celebrated pieces of art in Bristol. Painted in 1999, it represents Banksy's feelings towards authority. Couldn't come to Bristol without coming to St Paul's. Now apparently this place has got a bit of a name for itself, yet here we are vlogging with camera equipment. It's getting dark and it's perfectly safe. Just been talking to a lovely guy that's like told me all about the history and stuff of it.
Everybody's been really nice, really nice. Do not believe like what the hype and the things that people tell you. Judge places for yourself, that's what I always say. Go somewhere, talk to people, wander around, judge places for yourself. You often find that the places where people warn you off of are actually the places that have the nicest, most welcoming people that you can meet, basically. And we've loved it so far here, haven't we? This is definitely Moro's, I'd say.
Cool place.
Literally every single surface that you can find on every building is covered in either artwork or street tags or something. Really clever.
Else can compare. On my way, I be there. Sunshine like a heavenly oasis. I can feel the love from the family of faces.
As you've seen, this city is famous for its street art, and there's no better place to see it than in this area.
Oh wow, and I had a good time, but memories of my hometown keep crawling back in my head.
St Paul's is known for its community spirit, and there's nothing better that shows this off than the carnival that they host. St Paul's Carnival is often noted as being very similar to Notting Hill Carnival in London. It's been running since 1967 and it hosts over 40,000 people each year.
So much to Bristol still left to explore, so we're just going to hunker down in this city for a few more days.
See what we can find, basically, aren't we?
Yeah.
Keep exploring.
There's so much more. We can't fit it all in one vlog, so it's going to be over a couple of vlogs because there's just too much. That's it for this week, guys. Catch us next Tuesday at 8 PM, and until then, keep writing your own story.